Marcus pulled off the highway just as dusk settled the neon sign of Ashpine Motel, sputtering weakly against the growing dark. And though the parking lot was nearly empty, he felt a strange heaviness in the air, as if the building itself was holding its breath waiting for him. The clerk, an old man with skin like parchment and eyes that seemed to never blink, slid a tarnished brass key across the counter, muttering "Room 6, last one on the row," his voice thin as dust. And when Marcus asked whether there were other guests, the clerk only smiled without showing his teeth, his lips cracking into a curve that looked more like a wound than kindness. The corridor smelled of mildew and stale smoke, the carpet damp beneath his shoes as though it had recently been soaked in something other than water. And when Marcus unlocked the door, the hinges groaned like something long buried being disturbed, while the room itself reeked faintly of rot, its wallpaper peeling in strips like old skin, and the single bulb overhead flickering nervously as if reluctant to reveal what lurked within. He set his bag on the bed, noticing the mattress sagged unnaturally in the middle, as if something heavy had once lain there for far too long. And when he touched the nightstand, his fingers came away sticky with some residue he couldn't name, something halfway between honey and blood. The bathroom mirror was cracked, splitting his reflection into fragments, and when he leaned closer, he swore one shard smiled while the others did not, the broken pieces glinting like cruel teeth. But when he blinked, it was just his tired face staring back, though a bead of sweat rolled down his temple despite the cold. He tried to shake off the unease, turned on the old television, and though it fizzed with static, faint shapes flickered in the snow as if shadows were crawling just out of sight, their arms stretching, their heads cocked in impossible angles. And then, for half a second, his own face appeared on screen, though his mouth was sewn shut, black thread glistening as if wet. The remote slipped from his hand, the screen went black, and a soft knock rattled the door, not forceful, but steady. Yet when he opened it, the corridor stretched impossibly long, lined with doors that hadn't been there before, all painted black with tarnished numbers that shifted like insects crawling beneath glass. Heart pounding, he slammed the door, locked it, and tried to convince himself it was a trick of exhaustion. But the phone on the nightstand rang, its rotary dial spinning by itself before he even touched it. And when he lifted the receiver, a whisper said, "You shouldn't have come," followed by a wet sound like lips peeling apart or skin tearing from bone. The air grew cold, his breath visible, the bulb above him buzzing before finally going out, leaving him in near darkness lit only by the faint glow of the TV, though he turned it back on. And on the screen was Room 6, his room, but filmed from the corner as though someone invisible was watching. Marcus stepped closer, saw himself pacing nervously, and then the figure on screen stopped, stared directly at him, and smiled a smile that didn't belong to him, its mouth too wide, its gums black and glistening. The screen flickered, the version of him inside the TV began moving toward the camera, and though Marcus backed away, he could feel it closing the distance, as if the boundary between glass and flesh were thinning, until the TV clicked off and silence pressed against his ears like heavy cotton soaked in water. The bathroom door creaked open, though he hadn't touched it, steam spilling into the room, though the light inside was off. And when he peered in, water dripped steadily, though the faucet wasn't running, pooling dark at his feet, thick and warm like fresh blood. He stumbled back, grabbed his bag, and turned for the exit. But the doorknob was slick with something greasy, turning endlessly without opening, while from behind him the bed springs groaned, as if someone heavy had sat down. And when he turned, the mattress sagged deeper, though no one was visible, the indentation shaped like a body lying on its side. A shape pressed up beneath the sheets, rising slowly, and the whisper from the phone now hissed from all around the room. Not one voice, but many, layered like overlapping breaths, Stay with us. The walls pulsed, the wallpaper peeling back to reveal flesh-like layers beneath, veins throbbing in rhythm with his heart, and the cracked mirror in the bathroom door reflected dozens of faces that weren't his, each with mouths sewn shut, each shaking violently as if trying to scream through thread and rot. Marcus clawed at the window, tried to smash the glass, but it wouldn't break. Instead, it rippled like water, and in its reflection he saw himself already lying on the bed, eyes wide, mouth sewn shut, just like the figures in the mirror, his hands folded peacefully across his chest, as though laid to rest. The TV snapped back on, static roaring, and the other Marcus was there again, sitting calmly on the bed, smiling that hideous grin, raising a finger to his lips as if to say, "Quiet," while shadows gathered behind him, tall and faceless. The real bed groaned, sheets sliding back by themselves, inviting, and though Marcus screamed and pounded at the door, no sound came out, his throat tightening as invisible threads stitched across his lips, one prick at a time, the taste of iron flooding his mouth. The last thing he saw before darkness swallowed him was the reflection of himself climbing willingly into the bed, the sheets wrapping tight like a cocoon, the lump beneath them writhing once before becoming perfectly still, while the whispers sighed in unison, "Now you belong." The next morning, the clerk at the front desk polished the old keys with methodical patience, placing room 6's back on the hook, his cracked lips twitching into that same empty smile, ready for the next traveler to arrive, while outside, the neon sign of Ashpine Motel flickered patiently, humming with hunger, waiting for night to fall again.